Soren Kierkegaard, chapter 6. The establishment or state church, the established or state church of Denmark was the Lutheran Church. The nation considered it a God-given duty to protect the church, to promote its welfare by instituting compulsory religious training in all schools, and to safeguard the clergy by assuring them a respectable economic level and by giving them the status of civil servants. It was against this system of security and state control that Kierkegaard rebelled. The security of a Christian church meant to him the betrayal of every tenet of Christ's teaching and example. To live, quote-unquote, Christianly should be identical with shouldering the greatest possible insecurity before man and God. Christ's disciples suffered persecution and death. They had no official status and were never recognized in any manner or form. The anonymous early Christian followers were martyrs, not honored, paid, and respected for belonging to the church. Quote, beware of the scribes who like to go about in long robes and love salutations in the marketplaces and the best seats in the synagogues and the places of honor at feasts, close quote, Luke 20:46. Originally, to become a follower of Christ had meant not so much as, quote, holes like the foxes, quote, for sleep, or a, quote, nest like the birds for heaven, close quote, for security. Nowadays, so wrote Kierkegaard, the young minister became a seeker, quote unquote seeker, after having finished his theological training. But he is not a seeker after the absolute. He seeks a clerical position. In this, he is basically different from Socrates, who received no salary for teaching youth, and Christ, who was no friend of the poor. And Christ, who was the friend of the poor. Kierkegaard's personal decision to refuse a church appointment was, therefore, a logical step, especially after the church authorities and the public had shown signs of being alarmed by his books, The Sickness Unto Death and Exercise in Christianity. The following ironical dialogue from the Instant illustrates an uncompromising position in this regard. Quote, did the Apostle Paul have any official position? Close quote. Quote, no, Paul had no official position. Close quote. Oh, it's just a bunch of quotes, okay? Did he make much money by some other means? No, he did not make much money at all. Wasn't he then at last married? No, Paul was not married. But Paul then was not a serious man. No, Paul was a serious man. Close quote. Did Kierkegaard not pass up any opportunity for taking his revenge on life in a manner that was less mysterious than at times he made it appear? Here is one more of his stories which served his untiring campaign against the clergy. A Swedish parson who was deeply touched by the impression his sermon had made upon his flock tried to calm his congregation by remarking, quote, don't cry, my children. There is still a chance that it is not all true, close quote. Why, asked Kierkegaard, does the minister of today not say this any longer? The answer is that it is no longer necessary. We all know it. Now that all of us are of the universal priesthood. Christianity's tragedy, then, is that it is no longer what it was meant to represent, a militant, suffering, protesting minority. Since all of us have become Christians, the essence of Christian teaching has become watered down to such a thin trickle of public morality, a sort of police ordinance, that we have succeeded in abolishing Christianity in the name of Christianity. Quote, why do we no longer see the contradiction between Christianity's nature as polemic and the state's essence as a quantitative entity? Why don't we see how the state is paying its officers to destroy Christianity? Close quote. Such is Kierkegaard's anguish in 1854, 1 year before his death, and 30 years before Tolstoy's volcanic voice leveled similar accusations against the Russian Orthodox Church.